What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in for another Turkey Talk, Turkey 30. I keep forgetting what we call this. It's called Turkey 30. Thank you so much for tuning in. Here we are with a couple dead birds, giving you a live, semi-live update. We've had a heck of a start to second season, and we kind of want to give you guys a heads up on how things went down. Maybe that can help you guys out wherever you're at. And I guess we can just start by telling how these hunts went down. I mean, it's been a crazy couple of days so far. JP was the first one to strike, so I'll let him start it off.
That's how we do it, buddy.
Wednesday, we all pretty much got our asses kicked. The weather was not favorable at all. Real high winds. Just the birds weren't very active at all. So we got on a couple birds, but nothing really panned out. So then Thursday morning, the winds actually calmed down pretty good, and birds were totally different than they were on Wednesday. So right off the roost, we didn't really have anything going on, which you'll come to find out our roost hunts aren't that.
What are we at? We're less than 5% on roost hunts.
Yeah.
Lifetime.
Lifetime, yeah. So then Dylan and I kind of jumped around to a few different spots, located some birds that were actually on private, but there was a public chunk that butted up right next to it. So we slipped in on the public, and it was a spot that most people I don't think would even think about trying to go in after turkeys. It was super thick red brush, bunch of CRP grass, and pretty much the only thing we were thinking, it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and why not give it a shot? So we dove in there. We ended up pulling those birds from the private onto the public using the spinning strut. I actually stuck it up on a anthill.
It was pretty sweet.
And it was just high enough where that decoy got up above the brush, so those birds seen it, and two of them came right in and ended up dumping one of them at 15 yards. So it was a sick hunt, especially a public land. We like doing that. It's a bonus bird for us, just because we got a lot of ground to hunt, but it's nice saving some of them birds for the later weeks. So that was pretty much my hunt, and then Dylan and I had a pretty good one this morning.
Yeah, so as we'll kind of, you've probably heard us bitch about it before, but roost hunting, it's just a pain to me especially. I don't know if these guys are still gung-ho about it, but it just seems like our odds are very, very slim in the morning getting it to go down the way you want it to. So every morning we go out with the highest hopes and the highest expectations, and it always falls short, and this morning was no different. We thought we had a slam dunk hunt lined up, went in, set up. I mean, we were only 80 yards from this bird that was just hammering on the limb, and all of a sudden just silent. I'm pretty sure he flew down the opposite direction, never heard him once he hit the ground, and we heard birds further to the south, so we said, screw this, we're gonna go after them. Mike had a blind set up down there where his dad actually killed first season, so we went in there, snuck in while these birds were still on the field, and went into the wood line a little bit. He was able to get out there, get the decoys up, and I called a couple times. They came back to the wood edge and made it back out into the field, and had a couple hens with them. They worked down towards us, and eventually they made it to about 40 yards, and called them again, working the decoy back and forth, coaxed them into maybe just under 30, and they started to get a little antsy. Another hen came out on the field, and I wanted to take them before they decided they wanted to go with the real life hen. So JP did awesome on the footage, dumped him right there, didn't even flop once, and it was just an awesome hunt, post-roost hunt that I love getting in on, so that was pretty sweet. But then right after that, these guys got on some, so it was just a good morning all around.
Finally got on some. Brendan and myself, we got our asses pretty much handed to us the first 2.5 days here. Wednesday morning we had a pretty textbook roost hunt. We had a few toms in a creek bottom not too far from us, set up along a field edge. We had two of the toms come in just on a dime from probably 200-300 yards away, hit the field, and seen our decoys and just did not want anything to do with them. Went right back into the woods. Let's see, the last couple days, it's just been kind of the same deal. Like a lot of the birds we were chasing, they would see our decoy set, they didn't want anything to do with it, so we started switching up a lot of stuff with how we were setting our decoys. Started doing more stuff with breeding setups, and yesterday we did the same thing. We seen two toms shortly after our roost hunt, and 2 toms and a jake. They were out in this cornfield. We slipped in. They were just over the hill. Threw out a couple calls at them. They just came in hammering. They were coming in on a string. Got to about 25 yards. I was laying prone along the field edge. And lo and behold, a car drove by about 125 yards away from us down the road. And they boogered into the woods like literally seconds before it was all going to go down. And they sat behind us and gobbled for a while. Things kind of calmed down. They were going to come back out on the field, and then another car drove by, and they pretty much had enough of it after that and took off. And this morning, went back in where we went the first morning, got our asses handed to us again by a handful of times, and we just started doing kind of our morning laps and ran into the same flock we were hunting the previous day. Went in, they were in a little better position today. They were further out in this plowed cornfield, so we were able to actually sneak into the field that they were on and set up shop. And it was a long wait. We probably sat there for at least 2 hours. We had one bird come in, and there was a little bit of a knoll. He couldn't see the decoys, but then finally, after, like I said, after a couple hours of waiting, he got to a position where he's seen our decoys set up, and he came in on a dime and put on a frickin' show for us. And it was exactly what we were hoping for all along as far as laying down footage goes. It's been a long time since I've had a bird cooperate quite like this coming into the decoys, so it felt pretty good. Unfortunately, didn't make the best shot and had to do a follow-up as he was kind of running off, and made my second shot count, but it all worked out, and we got our third bird down on the week, so we're pretty much tagged out. My wife has a tag, so we're gonna try and get her out maybe this afternoon or later on in the weekend. But other than that, we're pretty much shut down until third season starts here in Wisconsin. I believe me and Aaron have tags next week.
Yep.
And then these guys got tags down in southern Wisconsin in Zone 1. We'll be kind of split up the following week, and then after that, I think the later weeks will all be back up here at turkey camp. So it's been a hell of a first couple weeks of the season. This early spring has definitely, I would say, contributed to a lot of our success early on. The birds have been still pretty flocked up. The colder weather, I think, is kind of keeping them flocked up. They're not really splitting up much, but we've noticed, these days like today when it's getting into the upper 40s into the 50s, these towns are starting to venture away from the hens, and it's days like these when it's getting warm or we don't have a lot of wind that we're starting to kill birds. Okay. Biggest thing I can say is just day by day these birds can be different, so if you're not having good luck, you gotta just keep after them, because anything can happen the next day. It even from hour to hour, things can change so fast with these birds, and their mentality will totally switch on a dime.
And I think, don't rely on just your roost hunts or your evening hunts. I think a lot of people, we'll hunt them in the morning, we'll take a break, take a nap, take lunch, and then go back out in the evening. And I mean, usually, especially if we're all together, we're hunting damn near sun up to sundown, trying to get on birds, moving around, going to different spots, just staying persistent, patient, waiting for these birds to cooperate, because like Mike just touched on, all it takes is for this sun to pop out, it to warm up a little bit, and those birds go from not cooperating to cooperating in little as an hour.
Absolutely.
I mean, totally changes the game, so stay at it, and good things will come out of it.
One spit drum and one gobble can change the entire day for you, so just wait for that.
It's true.
What wisdom you got, B?
Not much. I'm going to stand behind 9 to noon is the best time to hunt turkeys. We've said that for a long time. Today proved to be the same, other than, I guess, Dylan shot us a little
lucky
earlier, but JP killed one in those hours yesterday, and Mike killed one today, so if you got to pick a 3-hour window to hunt turkeys, 9 to noon.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much. We're very curious on hearing what's happening, where you guys are hunting. I want to know what you guys are seeing for birds, how your hunts are going, how receptive they've been, what the weather's been like. Drop those comments below. We want to hear about it. Subscribe if you haven't already. That helps us out immensely. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you on the next Turkey 30.